Hello and welcome, I am Bob Merlin and you are watching yet another Guild Wars video. This footage was perhaps during the stress test of the 9th of August. I had just bought a new monitor with high resolution and thought I'd try out Guild Wars 2 and see what it would look like, and if my computer could actually handle it. Here I'm zooming in to check the textures of clothing, lighting effects, etc. I did fraps this in 2560 by 1600, but it seems like Sony Vegas doesn't quite support rendering in that resolution. If I'm wrong, please tell me so in the comment section below. Anyway, you'll have to do with 1080p, which is actually half of the original in this case. What I can tell you is that Guild Wars 2 in 2560 by 1600 looks absolutely amazing. I know the YouTube video will look a bit blurry, especially with a lot of motion blur, and it doesn't do the game justice at all. In this video you'll get to see some swimming around the Water's Alliance Arch, some footage from the Grove, the Silvari starting area, and a short jumping puzzle leading to a hidden area there. And a rather funny heart quest and the skill point at the end in the Asura starting area. During the video I'll also be talking a bit about the game mechanics, like graphics and sound, questing, mention gear and some general stuff. I'm not going to edit out much of what I'm saying here, so you'll have to endure some Swedish accent and, well, I'm obviously not a native speaker of English, as you might have noticed in earlier videos as well. So for starters then, we could talk about the graphics and the sound. Well, the graphics, as I've already mentioned, is absolutely amazing. I haven't played all that many MMOs before, but compared to World of Warcraft or Star Wars, it's just insane. And the colors here, they are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And unfortunately, it's going to look worse on YouTube. I'm sure of that, but yeah. There are some areas, some water areas, where you have a really hard time seeing what's actually happening on the screen, but I think that's intended in that case because, well, it's murky waters and, well, it's just a way to make it a bit more realistic. I mean, these waters here in Lion's Arch are absolutely brilliant and you can see very far, but there's another area, I think it's like level 20 in the human area, which is very hard to have a boss fight, but again, it's just realistic. So I'm going to try to make a few screenshots and put them up on some place where you can actually see the full resolution 2560 by 1600 and make yourself a better view of what it would actually look like, because YouTube is compressing the video quite a lot, so it is going to be blurry, it is going to be a bit darker, I've noticed, and well, the colors are not the same as in the original here. So sound in Guild Wars 2 is really good. The music is very fitting, it's has its you know, it fits very well to the different areas, and oh, and here I just had to mention the lightning effect here in the water. It's absolutely brilliant. Sorry. Anyway, the sound is very fitting. I love the music. Dialogue is varied in. You can notice a lot of dialogue in, especially the cities. But if you do stay in the same place for too long, you are going to hear the same dialogues repeat itself. But I mean, you won't hear the same dialogue in two different places at least. So it's very good, and the voice acting is overall rather okay. I'm not entirely sure I like the sound of the female Norn, but especially the Asuran and Silvari dialogue is really good to listen to. And well, there's some, of course, exceptions in all areas, but if you're coming from a game like Star Wars: The Old Republic, you argue it's not going to be the same quality there of the voice acting, but then again, BioWare has done a great job there, so you can't quite compare with that. But yeah, it's good in Guild Wars, but it's not as in Star Wars. Moving on, I'm going to talk a bit about the questing system, which is what I think makes this game so much better than other MMOs I've played so far. I played World of Warcraft for 5 years, and I played Star Wars for, well, 6 months or something like that before I got bored of it and the server was dying. So yeah. Anyway, the question system in a normal MMO is that you usually go to a quest guy with a question, exclamation mark up on top of his head or whatever, and he will ask you to help him save the world by killing 10 rats and bring him their tails, and you go out and bring him those 10 tails, and then you go back and he wants you to kill 10 goblins and bring him their ears, and you notice that some goblins doesn't even have ears, which is quite odd. And you're going to compete with other players running around killing those goblins and bringing their ears, and he always wants the same amount from every single player, of course, and you have to compete about it unless you're in a group. In Guild Wars you don't have the competition in that aspect at all, which is absolutely great. But as I mentioned, there's 3 different kinds of questing. The first one is your personal story, which is affected by your race especially, and also a few choices you make when you create your character. So these quests are always they are actually the ones which are the most similar to the traditional ones. You are supposed to go to a certain place, do a certain thing, starting an event, so to speak. So, and they're always played in an instanced area. You can bring a friend or several into that area, and the event will actually scale, so it will never be too easy. The second version of the second form, I would say, of the questing is the renowned hearts, which is actually certain rather short and small areas where, as you mentioned, as you saw there, hearts on the map there, and you go to that area and you can just start helping. You don't have to talk to anyone. You can do it if you want to, but you don't have to. It might mention helping by doing this and that, and you just start doing it. It could be like feeding a baby bear so you can remove drawings from the cave walls, or answering riddles. In one quest I noticed you turn into a pig and sniff out truffles and kill some enemies in the area there. And of course you got they're collecting eggs and apples or whatever, but you don't have to get a certain amount of anything. Sure, you can fulfill a hard quest by bringing a lady just a few apples, well, probably a lot of apples, but you can also combine it with bringing a few apples, kill a few spiders, shake out a few suspicious trees or whatever in that area, and you can actually combine it. And obviously you have to kill a lot of stuff as well at times, and you can actually get experience from resting NPCs, which is brilliant. And you will also fulfill the hard quest by resting NPCs and stuff. The third form of questing is the dynamic events, which have been a lot of talk about because it's a very big thing for Guild Wars, and well, they are exactly what they sound. They are dynamic events happening, even if you're not there. Although you can start some events by talking to a quest person, for example, if there's a person who needs an escort, for example. But if you're not the one who started it, you can just if you're close enough, you can help out. If they're probably going to be attacked by, I don't know, Minitaures or whatever, and if you start helping by protecting that caravan, you are going to be part of that dynamic event. You don't have to see through there. If you do a few things and then you just say, oh, I want to go over here, you can do that. And sooner or later the dynamic event will end, and even if it fails, you are going to be rewarded with experience and karma and gold, of course. And if you will be rewarded a bit depending on how much you helped in that area. So you get either bronze, silver, or gold, and you don't have to do much to get a gold if you just participate. So some dynamic events are rather small, but there are also those which are huge. got a huge boss fight or whatever, and people are dying from all over the place, and you have to rest each other and stuff like that, and it's absolutely great. It's kind of like an open world raid. There are no raiding in Guild Wars. There's dungeons, of course, but you know, you're only 5 people there. There's no raiding in Guild Wars, and some people will like that, some will don't. I'm not entirely sure where I'm standing in that direction, in that aspect there. But the dynamic events sort of make up for it, although you can't really plan for it. You know, you can't be quite sure when a dynamic event will happen. But some of them are really huge, and even at level 10 you can have really hard dynamic events, and you keep dying if you're not enough people, because you know, there's a minimum amount of players to clear an event at times, or well, it's going to be too hard if you're too few. But if you are too many instead, the dynamic event will actually scale up, so to fit that amount of people. So the questing in Guild Wars 2 is a lot more, well, dynamic. You don't go to character A to get a certain amount of this or that, or kill this or that guy. You just start helping out, and then you get rewards for it when you talk to him. You might have heard that gear doesn't really matter, that is only cosmetic things. I'm not entirely sure how that's been phrased. I don't agree at all. It might not have the same value as in some other MMOs, but you do get upgrades, and you are going to feel more powerful when you get a weapon that does more damage. Obviously I don't know exactly what it's going to be like at level 80, if it's going to be only cosmetics by that time, but at least when leveling up you are going to get a lot better gear, and when you go down to lower level area with that gear you are going to feel a lot more powerful. That's, you know, it's a fact. You might have noticed, for example, I think it was like 3 minutes ago by now, the deer I fought at around 9 minutes 30 seconds, something like that. It went down like, well, 2 seconds, something like that, and I didn't take any damage at all. And obviously that was level 2, and I was high level at that point, so yeah. But you are going to notice differences from other MMOs. For example, I had a level 80 mage in World of Warcraft, and I decided to get my unarmed combat skill up to 400 or whatever was the maximum at the time. So I thought, you know, found this regenerating spider around level 10 or 15 or whatever, it doesn't really matter, and I could hit that one for a long time, because it's, you know, it didn't die thanks to its regeneration, and because I was so much higher level I didn't die either, so I just put it on auto attack and went AFK for 30 minutes, and when I was back it was, well, I was getting close on dying, so I just put one spell on it and got back to full health, and did it over and over again. If you would do that in Guild Wars, just putting an auto attack on a low level mob just because you happen to be level 80, you are going to die, definitely. You have to avoid stuff, you have to use your dodge skill. Sure, you are going to be more powerful if you're high level and have a lot better gear, but you are not invincible as in some other, well, most other MMOs, I guess. Difficulty level of this game is slightly higher than other games I've played, but I think it's good. You don't have the Holy Trinity, which is a great thing. You don't have a healer, you don't have a tank, and that basically means that you can't stand and just tank a mob for a long period of time. You're going to die, and high level areas you're definitely not going to be able to do it. You die in seconds if you don't move. So you have to use the dodge mechanics a lot, and move out of AoEs and stuff like that, because you know, it's impossible if you're not. By the way, this is the start of the short jumping puzzle, and I am going to speed up most of that, because frankly I was doing it so very slowly, and because I was recording it. Anyway, jumping puzzles are also something that makes the game slightly more challenging. If you want a challenge like jumping around, you can do that, but you don't have to. These are bonuses, so to speak. I think it's great. I love the jumping puzzles. I love them in Star Wars as well, when you got your different datacrons and stuff. Although some was quite frustrating, but you know, it was fun to do it. I love jumping puzzles. Some are easier than others. Some are basically the hardest thing might sometimes be to just find the start of it, and after that it's just getting from a rather clear way. When you know, sometimes it's just one way to go, and well, for example, this one, which is you know, of course, a very low-level area, but it's you know, it's quite clear where to go in most cases. After completing a jump puzzle, you get loot. In most cases, in this case, I got a 200 ham or something like that, which I don't need as an elementalist, but I could give it to someone else or just sell it. You also get an achievement for, well, most of it, I guess. Not everyone, I'm not sure. But if you don't like jumping puzzles, you never have to do it. It's, you know, it's absolutely voluntary. You can get to some certain hidden areas, but it's, you know, it's nothing amazing by completing it. It's pretty much only for the fun of it. I love it. I think it's great. From this point on, I don't really have that much more to say about the game, at least not that I can think of right now, so I will not be talking that much more. I will probably mention a few things that you see in the background, like the weather effects here. We just actually see some rain that for some reason suddenly stops when you jump up on this little rock again, which is a bit boring, but it looked really nice. I'm not sure if that actually showed on YouTube at all because of, you know, the motion blur. So this is the hidden area. This is still the Silvari area, where, and I don't think you can reach this without the little jumping puzzle before. It's a nice change from, you know, I think it's like nightmare thingy. If you want to know more about the lore, I would actually suggest going to Wooden Potatoes YouTube channel. He talks a lot about the Guild Wars, and he is very knowledgeable. I can't talk today, sorry. Getting late. It's really nice lighting effects and stuff like that here. I am going to jump a little bit here because I was trying to explore different areas before continuing further down there. Now this is something I actually like. She says she needs an antidote because she had poison there. Those small little comments, like when you get sped up from a spell, you know, mentioning trying to go faster or whatever. You know, those small little comments they make every now and then. I think it's great. Or, for example, changing different achievements there. I'm not sure I actually found this. There's supposed to be a treasure chest here. I'm not sure I found that one, but there is. Now this hard quest is actually quite funny. You are supposed to interview these supposedly more intelligent scripts to see if they actually are more intelligent than the others, and I'm not going to be talking much. I'm going to let you read it, but it's quite funny to put the, you know, you're asking those questions and they are overworking their brains and getting entirely exhausted from it, from thinking too hard. So it's actually quite fun. So I'm going to let you read this, and I'm going to stay silent for a little while. Finally, I'm going to finish this off with a slightly different skill point, which is actually demanding some brain power from the player, which is actually quite different from most other skill points where you just well, you know, defeat someone in one way or another. And again, I'm going to stay silent here so that you can read it for yourselves and see if you can what you would have answered, because you're going to be tested at the end of it. So. So yeah, that's the end of that skill point. Slightly different, well, quite different to be honest, and well, very fitting for the Asuran kind of questing. And as a small little bonus, during the last stress test I got this little Minitature Rytlock because I ordered the Digital Deluxe version of Guild Wars. So he's quite well made, a lot of small details, and I think it's quite great. Anyway, if there's anything you want to see in a future video when the game has launched, please put that in the comment section below, and I will see you next time.